I regret it. I'll tell you that straight up. I would rather have, as I'm getting older and we have kids, I would rather have more free time,
Yes.
to be honest with you, than have an extra $100 here and there.
Exactly.
So for me, if I had my way and I'm supporting you in your dreams, because we do have an exit plan, hopefully,
Yes,
coming
we do.
soon,
Yeah.
and that will kind of solve my issues.
Yes.
But basically, if I had my way, I should have my way. We would be relaxing.
I get to have my way for the next 3 years.
Yes, for the next 3 years. But if I had my way, I would probably rethink everything.
Welcome to our podcast, Relationships and Real Estate. I'm your host, Realtor Mom Rose, Realtor, investor, mom,
Entrepreneur, all that stuff. And I'm Jace. So let's get started.
Welcome to our podcast, Relationships and Real Estate. I'm your host, Realtor Mom Rose, investor, entrepreneur, mom, and here with me is my other half, Jace, real estate agent, consultant, author, dad, and a list of many.
Thank you. Yeah.
So today we want to talk about, I think one of the biggest lie I think that there is,
Misconceptions.
there is out there is real estate is a passive stream of income. And I think it's absolutely is, but it's more active than passive. And so what's your take on that?
Oh, it's definitely active. Because our experience, just experience alone, I think you can talk to any true real estate investor, is that you're dealing with people. And when you deal with people, there's going to be problems.
Yes.
They might not, they're going to break a door. The stuff is going to break down. Regular maintenance of a house. So when you think you live in your house, think about how many expenses you had for your house alone. The furnace, the AC, flooring, appliances, big ticket items that take out all the money at once that needs to be repaired immediately because your renter is going to like, hey, I'm withholding rent if you don't fix this. Mm-hmm. So the little streams of passive income that you get, because it is little. Let's not get it crazy where it's thousands of dollars that everyone's going to be making monthly, right?
Exactly. But only if you're like scaling or you have
if you have like apartments and things like that, that's different. But when we're talking about residential, multifamily, it is not that in today's market.
Exactly. So what would you say then in your experience and us being landlords like for over now 10 plus years? I think your experience as well as mine, because we were doing this together, real estate for us was nowhere being passive, but more active. And we were constantly just, having to think about, even though we were, buying properties here and there, but not with the mindset of scaling, it still required work. It still required for us to look at it as a business versus setting it and forget about it. Like most people say, it's passive income. You can get your property management to manage it and you don't have to deal with any problems. But the reality is, property management is one thing once you have system and processes in place. But they're still going to call you.
Yeah.
And still things are still going to happen. So as a business owner, in this case, I look at it as a business because essentially it's transactional. You have to think about the vacancies, the tenants, the problems that they're having, the retention, how, are they going to turn over every 12 months or 2 years or 6 months, or the problems that they're going to have. Right. So it's a constant planning process. And if you don't have
monitoring, it's constantly, your weekends are focused on it. Your free time is focused on it. So that you're always thinking about, damn, is everything okay at the other property?
Exactly. So I think, with setting it and forget about it, that's one aspect. And I think you can get there, which is our goal, is as we scale our portfolio, is to be able to get to a point where, yes, a property management can take care of it, but your problems don't go away, right? So these are just, landlord one-on-one things that you should know. This is not a set and forget. This is you being actively involved in a business, and be prepared to do the work.
Yeah, and I say the other thing too is if you do get into real estate, you must love it, because we kind of disagree on a lot of the philosophies. I know you're more of the mindset of investing in real estate, where I don't like the headache, right? So that's why I say, let's put in a mutual fund, let it grow. There's nothing to worry about. I just log in and check how it's doing once in a while.
Exactly.
But you're more actively involved because you're very detail oriented. You want to know what's going on. That also adds to your workload, right? And that doesn't really, to me, that doesn't really help you at the end of the day free up your time.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think if your plan is to scale your portfolio, it's very crucial to put systems and processes in place that will mitigate some of the day-to-day transactional type of business. I mean, you're still going to have to overview, you're still going to have to be actively involved, but not, having tenants calling you or texting you in the middle of the night, or almost every week, saying that there's a problem, because the reality is there's always going to be problems. And problems don't go away until you solve them. And even when you solve them, there's compounded problems. There's something else that's going to come up, right? So thinking about it from a active business model versus a passive, you have to have the mindset and be prepared to deal with it.
So asking you this, and knowing how we kind of explain the difficulties of getting into real estate investing, any regrets thus far?
I've not had any regrets. I think it's just you regret the things you don't do, right? And so it's not the things that you've done. So I think going into this, first, when we started 10 years ago, we had no experience. We went in with it with a mindset that, having a second stream of income plus really doing well in our jobs, we could do well with or without it, and not having to, go through the stress. But the reality is, it came to a point that it took over our lives, because we didn't outsource anything. We basically managed everything ourselves. And then, it became so chaotic and stressful that that firsthand experience, we just didn't want to deal with it anymore. Right. So now that we fast forward to where we are and we restarted this journey, and learning everything that will help us to better prepare ourselves in the future, I think it's important to just learn from people who have done it. And this is, all the YouTube videos, social media, everything else, and really think about, is this something that you want to do? Because if you don't love what you do, you're essentially, and you're just fixated on the money and the cash flow, it's essentially just going to not make you happy.
It's going to be a nightmare, because I regret it. I'll tell you that straight up. I would rather have, as I'm getting older and we have kids, I would rather have more free time.
Yes.
To be honest with you, than have an extra $100 here and there.
Exactly.
So for me, if I had my way, and I'm supporting you in your dreams, because we do have an exit plan, hopefully, coming soon.
Yep.
And that will kind of solve my issues.
Yes.
But basically, if I had my way, I should have my way. We would be relaxing.
I get to have my way for the next 3 years.
Yes, for the next 3 years. But if I had my way, I would probably rethink everything and change our strategy, our investment strategy.
Absolutely. But I think you went about this, obviously we went about this with
See how I'm being told we went about this?
with listening to my perspective on real estate, why I think we should do what we did, in hopes that it will get us to where we need to be.
But thank God we did not join Grant Cardone. Oh my God. This one here got obsessed with Grant Cardone. He wants upfront $10,000 to $15,000. We can get into this episode, or we can talk about
15. It was to be an accredited investor with Grant Cardone. It's $100K.
Okay, you see, that's what she didn't tell me. She tells me little bits of truth. Thank God, because that man is a waste of time, in my opinion.
Well, I have to say I agree and disagree with certain things that he.
So, would you have rather take the $100,000 and invest it with Grant Cardone, knowing you will get $200 a month coming back to you, and you're investing with a pool of people where you don't really own the property? Or would you rather take the money and actually either put it in a mutual fund or put it in your own real estate investments, knowing that you can see, monitor, feel it, have it appreciate, because you're a real estate agent now?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
What is the tie to say you still kind of feel like he's right in a way?
I wouldn't say he's right in a way. I think we had decided when we wanted to get back into this journey that we wanted to be as hands off as possible, because we were new parents. We knew that we wanted to have another kid and build our family. So as hands off as possible, which, we were looking at other avenues on how we can still be, capital partners and not having to do the day to day. And so that idea that kind of flashed by me was like, oh, this sounds good, until, I requested to see the contract, kind of go through the details. And then, we sat down together and we thought about it, and we were going, well, no, I don't think this is going to be the right direction. Because at the end of the day, there's an equity play, but there's also a cash flow, which was very minimum. And it was in Florida.
Right.
And so we decided that wasn't.
What a waste of time.
Yeah, that wasn't a good
I'm very
decision.
skeptical. Every time you bring up something about me, oh, I saw this, we should probably look into it. I'm like, no. Because I think those things that are broadcast to the general public will give you general results. And I keep that as one of my key commandments that I actually preach every single time something comes up. If everyone else is doing it, it means it's wrong.
Yeah. And yeah, so always do your due diligence, kind of going back to,
yeah, and if any of you
not jumping on the wagon
right.
of what everybody else is doing. So really identifying what's your journey, what's your goal, where do you want to be, and kind of taking the lead and taking matters in your own hands versus, yes, everything else out there can still get you where your hopes and goals
right.
may be, but really sit back and think about, is this the right approach or the right decision for you?